It's supposed to be on him. Yo, everyone, welcome back. If it's your first time here, welcome. My name's Josafat Emiliano. Miguel's not here. Actually, Miguel's over there. And you are now watching Hey Rockstar. It is probably going to be your favorite show from now on. Thank you for coming. Who are we? What are we? We're just a show that we promote great stories, my stories and the stories of other rock stars are just killing it in their industries. And these stories, what they're designed to do is to inspire you to grow physically, spiritually, mentally, socially, and financially. And then we want you to take all that, apply it to your life, so that then you can go and first of all detach from failure, take ownership, and develop the right mindset, the rock star mindset for your industry. That's it. That's the clean cut intro to this show. I don't want to take more time because I have a very special guest today. This is episode 42. It is another interview with a rock star. And the rock star we have today, whew, he's been traveling all day, and I'm glad we finally got a hold of him to come to our show. So go ahead, sit back, relax. If it is your first time, please do the thing. Show the love, the like, subscribe, the share, all that good stuff. If you are a returning satisfied customer, go ahead and share right now with your friends. Let them know, hey, we got some value that's about to go on. All right, so let's get on with the show. Episode 42, interview with the rock star. My rock star today is a man who I've had a chance to get to meet and to see perform as a media person. He's been on the other side of my camera. The energy that this person brings to the table, it is amazing. It inspires me, makes me feel young just watching him dance around and perform. He is a rock star when it comes to music, a literal rock star, y'all. He's also involved in ministry. We love those kind of rock stars too. But I just found out that when it comes to athletics and sports, this man also knows how to do hoops. He knows how to play ball. So guys, if you're ready for a challenge, if you're ready to be stretched, tune in your ears and help me, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, help me welcome Lorenzo Baylor.
Yo,
Yo, look at that. You got
you
the rock star vibe going, my
you
man.
you came on with the glasses, and I said, okay, I gotta try to, I gotta try to step it up. I gotta
You
try to step
do.
it up.
You do. You look good. You look good. Welcome, Lorenzo,
I
to Hey Rockstar. And well, I know a little bit about you, but my audience, some might know you, some
can't
might
see.
not. By the way, before I move forward, I forgot to say this before the show, but I want to let you know I talked to Drew earlier. I know you've been on her podcast,
Yeah.
and she wanted to make sure I told you what's up. So,
Oh, Drew, what up?
and we were talking next season, enter next season, I'm going to bring her on my show
Awesome.
because this season's almost over. Entering August is my last month, and then September is season 2 for Hey Rockstar. And I
Okay.
already told her I'm going to put her on that list to bring her in for that season. It's been
Drew's
fun, man.
amazing. Drew is
But
amazing.
Lorenzo,
Yeah.
I could talk all day about me and what I'm all about, but today I want to highlight you and your story. So if you don't mind, just kind of share us a little bit about your story and where you're at today.
Yeah. So I'm Lorenzo Baylor. Um, I live here in Nashville by way of St. Louis, Missouri.
Mm.
Born and raised. It's where my family still lives to this day. Um, uh, I was, I'm a church kid at heart. I'm a church kid through and through. Grew up in church. Grew up in ministry my whole
Mm.
life. My family's church in St. Louis Faith Miracle Temple is where I was, raised and involved in everything. My grandfather started the church 50 plus years ago now.
Wow.
Yeah, 50 plus years ago, and he when he passed away before I was born. Never had a chance to meet him, but my his sons, Larry, Marlon and David and my dad Lorenzo kind of have taken it on and carried on that ministry legacy. And so that's where I was born in the pews, for what all that means. And so yeah, I spent a lot of time being trained. My dad is one of 9 children.
Wow.
So he he has 6 brothers, 4 of which being older and the other 2 being younger, and 2 sisters. So he came from a big family. So I'm sure over the course of us talking today, I'll mention uncles.
Yeah.
It's one of those 6, and then some
Brother, I
extended
understand.
family.
My dad's the oldest of 8.
Oh yeah,
And so, yeah, I totally get that. So let's talk family. I love where this
yeah,
conversation. We have a lot of similarities already. I love
yeah,
where this is going. Carry on.
yeah. So come from a big family, but me myself, uh, you know, I only grew up with a younger sister. I do have
Hmm.
an older brother, but I grew up in my home was a younger sister. So, uh, I didn't grow up in with a lot of siblings, but I grew up with a lot of cousins.
Hmm.
So all of his brothers, they decided, him and his brothers, and they decided, we're not gonna have a bunch of kids like our parents. So they pretty much were two and done, maybe three. I think three is the max for all of them, 2 to 3. So I grew up with a lot of cousins, and we grew up close, like brothers and sisters. I'm sure you have the same. You got
Yeah.
cousins that were at each other's house and parties and holidays. So
Christmas
all that
was
entails.
grandma's house was
Christmas is
packed.
oh, grandma's house is always packed. So uh, yeah, man, that's kind of how I came up, and uh, yeah, church was my life. Ministry is my life. It still is to this day. Uh, you know, Obviously I do music outside of that. Um, not outside of it. I shouldn't say that, but I do music. But ministry is still a huge part of my life. Even being here in Nashville, going to the Belonging Co, where you know, we have a lot of fun, and it's just a very very just powerful times. It's just a good time, good time.
How long have you been in Nashville?
3 years,
All right.
3 years. As of March, I moved March of 2018.
Sweet.
Uh,
And I got to ask, what exactly brought you, or what was the story behind that brought you to Nashville?
yeah. So I feel like I hear this similar story around our church.
I
So
got you.
I grew up. I mentioned before I grew up in church. So I grew up leading worship at my family's church. Started with the youth group. Started with our youth group, and when I was 13 years old, and did that for years, and then I went to school. So I have an uncle that's very impactful to my life. His name is Terry. Terrence is his name, but we call him Terry for short. And so Terry started me um, on this path when I was probably before I was 13, when I was very young. And so he was the youth pastor at our church at the time. And so all our friends that were interested in music in any kind of way, we we were under his wing. And so um, I'm trying to keep my stories condensed, but
It's fine.
but in that youth group, over time, he stepped away, to spend more time with his family and work, and now he lives in Houston, Texas.
Oh,
And so uh,
that's my
around that
motherland.
time, yeah, yeah, when I was maybe in my early 20s, I started doing worship full time. And as far as I stopped doing the youth group, and then I started with big people church, big with the adults. So I was very young, and again, this is a family church, so but it wasn't a situation where it was like nepotism, or just
Mm.
because I was the pastor's nephew, or all that. I really he really instilled a lot of great values, and he prepared me for that space. So I did that for um, a lot of years, and I went to school in St. Louis, um, and uh, over time, it was just a situation where it was just time to move on. It was just time to move on. So I spent a year at another ministry that I would try go to with my good friend, and I started as the ministry is called Grace Church St. Louis. So um, I spent a year there, and within that time, my one of my dad's younger brother, his name is Marcus, who's a musician, jazz musician. Him and his wife have a band.
Oh, nice.
Who's been very influential in my life. He's the one who, um, you know, train. He's got me into songwriting. He got me into, just how to be a professional. He's toured the world playing, doing music. So he trained me. So he started to hear some of the songs that I had been writing at the time, and he said, "You should think about Nashville." Now I had never considered Nashville. In fact, I wanted to go to the East Coast. He lives in New Jersey, and then at the time, my sister lived in New York. So I thought I wanted to go somewhere in between there. And so I wanted to think about going east. So he's like, "You should think about going to Nashville." So my parents came to Nashville for a church convention one year. This was 2016, maybe 2017, 2017 for sure. It was 2017. So they came for a church convention, and I came with them. And because at that he had mentioned Nashville, I was like, let me just go see what it's like. And I didn't really do that much actually. We were at Opry Land,
Hmm.
the big resort here in
Yeah.
town. And we went around a little bit, but not. I didn't do like this excursion of Nashville like that. Um, and so, but being here, it was just something that kind of called. It was just kind of that still small voice that was just kind of like, "This is where you're gonna live." And so, I think 6 months later, I was packing up everything and moving. Um, and that's how I got here. And that was 3 years ago now.
Oh, what conference was this? Or you said conference, right? Or
It was
convention?
a convention. So there's an organization in the state, actually they're worldwide. It's called the Pentecostal Assemblies of the World, PAW for
Ooh.
short. And they came for that conference, that convention, which was being held at Opry. Um, and that was the organization my grandfather, when it was his ministry, uh, you know, all those years ago, was a part of, all the way up until my uncle, who pastors it now, was there for some time before the church decided to start their own, network of churches. So, um, yeah, so deep, deep, deep ties to the PAW. Shouts out to any PAW people who may be watching.
Sweet.
Yeah, so
All right. So now I'm following your story. You are now in a new place, which comes with its own challenges, its
absolutely.
own abilities to adapt because it's different from here from St. Louis. And now that I think about it, I should have worn my Cardinals hat. I do have
Ha!
one. My best friend is
I
a
should.
Cardinals fan. Actually, honestly, when it comes to baseball, I have really no. I mean, I would claim I'm a Rangers fan just simply because I lived next to the stadium for so many years, and I'd go to their
Okay.
shows or not the shows, their games.
Yeah.
Everything's a show to me, man. But but
You
but I
musician
did
through
have
and through.
Cardinals just because it matched some of the gear I have, and I but other than that,
Yeah.
anyway,
I got a I got a LA Dodgers hat. I grew up in St. Louis. I'm a Cardinals fan, but sir, I was having this conversation with a man I met in Florida. It's like some hats just look good. It's just a good
that's
looking
true.
hat. Just a good looking hat. So I'm not mad at you.
All right, so now you're in Nashville. What kind of when you first got here, did you have um, many connections, or did you find yourself having to kind of start all over from where you were at?
Yeah. I started over. It was a fresh start for me.
Mm.
And um and I'm not that I moved here when I was 28 years. No, I was 27, going on 28. I moved on the week of my birthday. The week I was turning 28, I moved to Nashville. So, um, I didn't know anybody. My entire family lives in St. Louis.
Mm.
And I'll take that back. I knew a couple people, but I'll get to that. Um, but my family, like in terms of my blood, my immediate family and my extended family, all live in St. Louis, with the exception for some who live on the East Coast. So I didn't know anybody coming to town. It's not like a situation where I had, hey, come down here and we'll get you set up with this, this, and that. It was literally a fate move in terms of just this is where I feel like God is calling me to be. So yeah, I didn't know anybody, and except for um, two friends, my friend Evan and my friend Theo. But my friend Theo lives in Murfreesboro, which is like half an hour outside
Yeah.
of Nashville. And then my friend Evan, who lived in town at the time, he's actually him and his family moved back to St. Louis recently. But he's how I got to the belonging. Evan is how I got
Okay.
to the belonging in the first place. I didn't know anything about the belonging before I
I
came.
wonder if I remember who he was.
And so uh, Evan is a phenomenal drummer. So I knew him, and I spent some time with him, but I didn't see them much because my friend Theo has a family, and my friend Evan has a family. So, with that, you don't get to see. I'm single, so I came here. It was just me, and so, I didn't get to spend a ton of time with him, just because he's busy, and I'm the type that's like, hey man, I never want to feel like I'm clinging on to somebody.
Gotcha,
That's
gotcha.
probably a deeper issue that we won't go into that. But and so yeah, I didn't know much of anybody. So it was a real interesting transition for me, psychologically, because I come from a big family. Not only that, I come from a church where I grew up my whole life. So
Yeah.
when you're in a situation like that, um, you're not really struggling for friends. You're not trying to make friends so much. They're kind of almost built in. You everybody knows who you are. You're the pastor's nephew. My dad's a deacon at the church. And my dad has a big personality, so everybody knows him. So everybody knows, oh, that's Deacon Lorenzo's son. I'm a junior. I'm named after my dad. So everybody knows that's Deacon Lorenzo's son. Then everybody knows that's Lil Lorenzo who sings, and then it's Lorenzo who leads worship, and then so it's never a situation where I had to start from scratch like that. Nashville was the first time. Cut me off if I'm talking too much,
No,
by the
no.
way.
I wanted to ask, what kind of challenges did you first find when you first got here that
Yeah,
you
so
needed to move forward through?
absolutely. In that, I've experienced for the first time moving to Nashville stuff I never felt like loneliness,
Okay.
uh, and which kind of brought me down, brought my energy down. I'm an introvert by nature, so I'm not gonna, uh, you
Could
know,
have fooled me, but then
yeah,
again, I'm a
I
magnetic person, so
yeah, I describe myself as a uh, outgoing introvert. So I know
oh,
how to have a
I
good
like that.
time. I know how to have a good time, but I tend to uh, get my energy from just kind of being by myself, which is, so, but in that, moving to Nashville, I felt, those feelings of loneliness, which kind of start to feel a little like depression, but I didn't go off into full depression.
Yeah.
But it was interesting because, uh, yeah, it was starting from scratch, and it was that uncertainty of, did I make the right move? Did I hear God like I thought I did? So um, you have that type of situation. So I really dealt with that a lot early on. That was like the first probably 6 months of me uh, moving to Nashville was kind of like oh man, I don't, and then getting encouragement from friends and family, like just hanging in. But it was tough early on, for
Cool.
sure.
And what kind of victories did you start seeing with given the time that you had? What was like the first time you're like, oh wow, okay, I can do this kind of situation?
Absolutely. Yeah, I was. So here's where how I am, host for that. It's I'm never one to, even though I feel that sense of loneliness, depression. Um, it never was a situation where I was like, okay, I'm always like, hey, I'm here. Let's just find a way to deal with it. That's how I am. And so the first victory, the first sense of relief that I had from those feelings was, so if you don't mind, I'll backtrack a little bit. So
Go
when
ahead.
I
Go ahead.
first moved when I moved to Nashville, my friend Evan was already going to the Belonging. He was doing production, and so I moved on a Saturday. Sunday came, and he was like, "Bro, come to church." Now this is before. Again, I didn't know anything about the Belonging. Now at that time, we only did evening services at the Belonging. It was the 4 p.m. and the 7 p.m. I'm not. When did you come to the Belonging?
I've been there for 5 years now. So I
Five
started
years.
Rocket
So you
Town
remember?
when I when I started, it was only Tuesdays, and they had just launched. Well, before they were just about to launch the Sunday 4 p.m.
Yeah.
And they couldn't do the morning because they had another church meeting there.
Okay.
And but at the time, I was going to another church, my cousin's church, on Sundays, and I'd come to Rocket Town or to the Belonging for Tuesdays until a certain Easter happened where I made the decision. I went to same thing, same story about loneliness, and I can actually share this to
Yeah.
kind of
Please.
get to you. It was on an Easter Sunday. I went early to my cousin's church, and nothing against them. It's just everyone already had plans. They had things going on. Even my cousin, his fiance at the time, they were going to go meet with his fiance's family. So Easter Sunday, everyone left. I was
Okay.
like the last person in this mega church, and I felt very alone. I walked down the
Exactly.
hallway. Usually there's people lingering, talking there, and no one was there. I went to their coffee shop. They closed down early. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going home. I went to home. My roommate went to spend Easter with his parents. They live
Oh
about an
wow.
hour away. So I was
Uh-huh.
literally alone on Sunday, on Easter Sunday. I tried to take my Sunday nap. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't
Wow.
sleep. And I'm just tossing, turning. And finally, I'm like, you know what? I think, I think I'll go check out the Belonging on their Sunday service. I know they just started Sunday service. Why not? And if
Mm-hmm.
I go right now, I'll make it in time for their 4 p.m. service. I went, and Robert DeGrange was the first one who just kind of saw me like Josafat. And I met him through a men's breakfast. He was like, "Hey, what are you doing after church?" And I'm like, "I have no plans." He goes, "A few of us are gonna go check out this new restaurant, and you're welcome to join us." And I went. I remember it was like 20 of us went to this place, and it
Wow.
was just fun. It was great. I made contacts, exchanged numbers with people, added Facebook friends, and I remember leaving that get together feeling full of community, feeling full of not feeling lonely anymore. That's when I decided, you know what? If I need to plant somewhere, I'm going to plant at this church, and that's when I decided to make the Belonging my home church while I was here, and that's when I made the transition. But it was just that same feeling. I was established, and and I'm an extrovert. I was going out of my way to make friends and build community at this other church, but in the end, they all just kind of left me. And although I really wasn't established at this church, I was just going because my cousin needed help with music. And finally, I'm like, well, this church, I found community, so I'm gonna go with this one.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was my story in a nutshell. How loneliness actually helped me find community, and that's
Yeah.
when I decided this is the church. Because even though I was going to this other church, I was still kind of hopping and checking out different places because I wanted something different or something unique. Because this other church, it's good, but it was kind of from where I came from, and I was kind of burnt out from where I came from,
Yep.
and I need something different. And even like they always say, once you come in, the first thing pastors say is just take a break. You don't have to. We don't need you to jump in. Just rest and let Holy Spirit do what He's still. And I did for 6 months. I rested before I started serving, and now,
Yeah.
well, media. But
Absolutely.
that's my story on how I came to Bico. And I walked in. I remember the first time I walked in was on their second birthday party on a Tuesday, and
Oh
they had
wow.
donuts. And I'm like, this is a great way to welcome people.
Yeah, so you've been there 5 years. I came in year 4. So the year I came, um, they were gearing up for the fourth. I don't think it was about that time yet, but close to it. It was the
So it was
fourth.
the one
They were going to the fourth
after
anniversary.
the Ryman, because
Yeah,
Ryman was the third.
yeah. This is the year after the Ryman, and so my friend was going there.
Wait,
He
was
had
that T
moved.
Pack? Was the fourth T Pack? Or was that fifth? I don't remember. I'm thinking birthday parties. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we had it at Rocket Town. The
Okay, okay,
fourth
okay. So
birthday
yeah,
was at Rocket Town.
gotcha.
Um, and so I came on this. I moved on a Saturday, packed in all my stuff, and you were good, doing great. You had a roommate. I didn't. So I moved on my own, and I got my own apartment, uh, and moved on. I was just kind of by myself. So he's like, "Come to church on Sunday," and then and so that was right when they were just doing the 4 p.m. and the 7. That church was
Yeah,
whatever ministry or whatever was going on in the morning was still doing
yeah.
that. So I was like, it was already like 3:55 or something anyway. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna come next week. This is before I knew anything about the church that they met at 4 and 7. So I was like, yeah, I was thinking about coming next week. He's like, no, come tonight. There's a service at 4 and there's a service at 7. I was like, it's already 3:55. So I was like, okay, I'll come to the 7. And when I came, uh, he was serving. So I kind of sat by myself, and bro, I was blown away. I was blown away. Now this is prior to all of the feelings that I had. This is I was green. So I was just like, okay, here I am, new city. It's great. I got my friend Evan. He's gone. Anyway, so a few months in, what we have at our church, called Connect Groups, had just ended. So I was like, okay, I this. So after a little bit of time, I decided to make TB Code my home church. I went to one other church, and I was just, it was fine. The church was cool, but I just didn't feel a connection. So my good friend back home said, I was like, hey, I should be going to visit other churches, right? I mean, but she said, hey, if it's love at first sight, uh, what are you doing? And so I said, you know what, you are right. So I decided to make TV Code my home. That's the church I was going to go to and really connect with. And so a few months goes by, the Connect groups have just ended. So I'm in that kind of feeling of despair and loneliness. The first relief from that was uh, the Connect groups that came back around the following semester. So I tried to. I'm not like you, Josafat. So how you tried to jump out there and just try to meet some people, it's very out of my personality. But I tried it. I tried it at the time, uh, TB Code was starting its first round of doing their first summer sessions of DNA. It was going to be their first time doing it,
Cool.
and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to that. I'm gonna make some friends at DNA, because you come to
DNA.
church,
I remember those.
and my friend would usually go to the 4, and so I still was going to the 7. So the nature of kind of church, and any church can be, there's, everybody's very, if you come to the belonging, everybody's so nice. I don't think I've ever encountered anybody that wasn't friendly and nice at the belonging. I don't think I have.
We got rid of them.
That I can remember. That I can't remember. And so until I met Josafat, he was cool. But no, I'm kidding. And so, but everybody kind of has their groups. You have your friends you talk to after church. So I would talk to somebody after church and leave and come back, and I would never see him, because the church was really growing. It was growing. It's still growing. So you would come back, you wouldn't see the same people week after week. So I'm like, DNA, I'm gonna make a friend. I'm jumping in, and I'm going, be that guy. First
That
week,
guy.
yeah, the first 2 weeks, I met a guy, didn't see him again the following week. Same thing happened the following week. Third week of DNA, car breaks down on the highway, engine blew.
Oh wow.
Fourth week, had to go to back to St. Louis. Got another card, came back. So I missed DNA. Connect groups come back around. I finally got connected in the Connect group. That was the first time where I felt like, okay, I got, and it was an instant connection. My Connect group leader, Brian, shouts out to him. He's who
Yeah.
got me into serving. He introduced me to Bear. Everybody knows Bear.
Mm-hmm.
He introduced me to him. Bear got me into load in, load out. At that time, uh, after church on a Tuesday night, we would break down everything, and they would put it back up again the following Sunday. So he got me in with that. And then I started doing stage managing, where I met Andrew Holt, and the rest is kind of history from
And
there.
that's kind of where I met you. I remember just seeing you like handling the things on the side as a stage manager,
Yeah.
and I remember asking you, "Hey, what's your name?" And when you said Lorenzo, like I like that name, Lorenzo. Honestly, I thought you were like Cubano or Dominican because you said you didn't say my last name, and to me, all the Lorenzos I know are all Latinos, and like
Yeah,
cool.
I love the Latino community is close to my heart. I love. That's what I mean. You connected so much.
The food is close to my heart, and I
The
gotta get that
food
check
is so close
sometimes.
to my heart. The food is so close to my heart, which I'm thinking about right
Oh man, yeah, I'm about to do some cooking here in a bit.
now.
But no, let's. I kind of like where this is going. The
Mhm.
importance of finding your people, or the importance of finding community. So
Yeah.
let's just go with that, and we'll move forward. Other values. Now I know a lot of like strong leaders. We try to be he-mans, just try to do it all on our own. And have you ever found yourself in that situation where you might have tried on your own, but then you found out, you know what, this would work better if I have a team?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I'm still learning that lesson.
Ah.
I'm still learning it. I'm a very I'm the type that I'm very impatient, and it's something that I'm working on and God is working it into me. So whenever I feel like people are moving, I did a little rant on my Instagram today about
Well, I better go check it
people who
out.
take people who take a long time doing things, and that really bothers me. And it really was more so about being in airport security and TSA today, and just people in front of you. So I won't go off into that. Anyway,
Starting to
but
sound like Pastor Henry in
yeah,
TSA.
it was so aggravating. But anyway, people who I tend to like, I don't like when I feel like I'm being progress is being held up in any way. So I start trying to, um, you know, do things like, okay, I'll do this, I'll do it on my own. I'll do this, that. But you really need people in order to accomplish whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. Nobody's ever accomplished anything without the help of somebody else. Um, whether it's the people who we consider the greatest, Michael Jordan, he needed Scottie Pippen, and I needed I needed all the people that helped me, and whether it's in music, um, and now I'm able to serve our church and our leaders in the capacity, and really develop, um, and it's really developmental time for me, right now in the
Mm,
developmental
yeah.
season for me. So which is extremely important, and I don't take it lightly. So, um, yeah, in those situations, I remember, um, you know, first coming to church, and that same kind of thing of, okay, not even church, but just moving to Nashville. The nature of Nashville is, okay, how can I get uh, into the scene? How can I get connected? How can I? And I remember Pastor Henry, our pastor, preached a message one time. And he's in that message. He said, "Stop trying to make connections. Stop trying to what was the word he looked for? A network." Because that was another thing that I had people and friends. You got to network. He's like, stop trying to network. Get in the presence of God and allow the presence of God to develop develop your relationships and develop and I really that really struck me. So everything that I've ever done up to this point and been involved in, especially moving to Nashville, was really based on a genuine relationship. Me just getting to know a person, and once I got to know them, and their story, and I found out, man, we have a lot in common, or man, that's interesting. That person said some things that I want to apply to my life, and become friends, and find out we got the same interests. Me and Andrew Holt love basketball. We spend hours, and Andrew was on the show recently, and so me, him, and a few other people spend hours debating.
Early in the mornings.
Early, yeah, we spend hours debating about who's the best, Michael Jordan or LeBron James.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I don't think I've had many music conversations, maybe a couple with him, but our connection came through basketball, uh, and he's become somebody who's really dear to my heart, him and his family. And so it's not a situation where I can't, I wanted to come in and say, who can I connect with that'll help me get to this, and that didn't work. That didn't work for me. I didn't feel comfortable in that, because I'm the type that really loves close relationships. I like for people to feel like family because I come
Yeah.
from a big family. So, yeah, that aspect of trying to do it on my own, or just trying to force my way into situations, it didn't yield great results. I'm not saying that there are people who do that and get far. It just wasn't
Yeah.
for me,
I've seen people come in with that hustle mindset. I also seen them get burnt out. But I
Mhm.
mean, it's just I had the perk that I didn't know who was who in any of those industries, because
Mhm.
before moving to Nashville, I was working with a nonprofit organization doing things in other countries. So I knew who was who in Mexico or in Africa kind of, but like I didn't
Yeah,
know who was who here.
same
And
thing.
so I was serving with people who just they wouldn't say who they were, and just got to know
Yeah,
them as a person. And it's refreshing to know person as a person. Or nowadays I just assume everyone can do music, so to me, like, oh, you do music, that's no big whoop. Tell me what
yeah,
else do you do. Today I was talking to
yeah,
someone from who serves, and like, well, what do you do? He goes, well, I play guitar. Like, well, besides that, I mean, what else do you do? But
yeah,
he was telling me that legitimately that's what he does for as his to pay the bills and such. That he pays, or he plays for like studios and such. Oh, okay, cool. I can respect
yeah.
that. But what else do you like to do? And I try to have a conversation because I want depth. I don't think we should be defined by what we accomplish. We need to define ourselves by what we enjoy, by what we feel, by what we bring to the table, intellectually and emotionally, and just
Mhm.
that kind of stuff. But so when people ask me, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" Like, well, I mean, I sleep and I eat. I live by doing that.
Yeah,
And people are like, well, and you make money? Like, oh, you mean what I make from what I do to pay the bills? What I do to make money? Then I'll tell them
yeah,
my
yeah. I'll tell you
spiel.
that, right? Yeah,
But other than that, no, it's just it's funny, um, that people just that's the first go to, and so now you're starting to build. I love that though. I love that you are not trying to intentionally network. You are just you are building relationships. You're being genuine. You're being true. You're talking to people down to earth, and whatever comes out of that,
yeah.
it seems a
And
lot more
and
promising.
I tried it. I remember going out to some different things around Nashville with a friend, and he was like giving me the whole rundown. He's just like, "This is how you network. This is what you do. You can, you tell him, all the way down to he's and I won't name his name, but he had on a T-shirt. He's like, this is he's like this. He had on like a T-shirt or whatever it is he does, like whatever instrument. He's like, this is what I do to let people know this is what I do, and it just seemed really exhausting to me. It seemed so exhausting. Um, and I was like, man, is this what And that was also within that period of feeling lonely and depressed and blah blah blah. And
Yeah.
so it was just kind of a culmination of just like, man, if this is what this is gonna be rough. Again, trust trying to power through. So I tried it, but it was just like it wasn't me. And once I found out, once I was able, I won't say found out, but once I was able to be in a situation where I could just be myself, and people could get, were able to get to know me, just Lorenzo, and things that I'm interested in, and music is a part of that. So I love talking music. I love talking about music, and I love talking about different art forms and kind of what makes those things go. But uh, it's really developing those relationships, getting to know somebody, getting to know their families, getting to know, hey man,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, what have you been dealing with this week? Because they're and it's in those situations where those other aspects of what it is that I love, and uh, my gift, and we're able to blossom out of that stuff. That was the most key thing. You know, just hanging got me further than going and doing all of the different things. You know.
Just hanging got you further than doing all the other things. I like that.
Mhm.
It makes it so much easier. Uh, but okay, so let's talk a little bit about music or projects. What kind of projects are you working on? You got coming up that you're excited about?
Absolutely. So I'm working on a song now, with some great people. I was able to write a song, co-write with my friend Robbie Valderrama,
Oh yeah, yeah.
uh, and another friend, Leslie Jordan. And we wrote a great song, uh, and I'm in the middle of working with my friend Chase Weber. Do you know Chase Weber?
From Gnomes.
Um, yeah, and
Yeah,
from Gnome
from
Studio,
Gnome Studio.
and we are putting that together now. I'm really excited about that. I'm working toward releasing a series of songs. Not necessarily. I wanted to do an EP early on, but it's still probably end up being that. But I want to release some songs over the course of time that are related to a central theme. So I'm in the midst of kind of working on that. My it goes back to that same conversation of feeling like you can do things on your own, um, and that it was been this season has been a real testament to uh, uh, reaching out and letting others help, allowing others to help me build what it is that I'm trying to build. Spend a lot of time. Spend a lot. People can spend a lot of time like overthinking the moment. I was like, okay, how can I get this done? This is what I need to get this done.
Yeah.
But really, again, the same thing. Uh, just hanging and having those relationships just led itself into, hey, let's work on this, and it's been so easy. It's been so easy in turn, hard work, but natural. If that makes sense. It's been natural just to flow into, working with my friend Chase. Being able to, you know, do some work at No. It's been so, and he's really been helping me out a lot. So I'm excited about that. Um,
Well, I always see the stuff you guys post when y'all collaborating. I'm
yeah,
like, dude, this is awesome. I love that people just kind of bounce off each other, and
yeah.
there's others who have asked me to help them with like voices. Like, just let me know. I would gladly give you my raspy baritone and sing
Oh, I love
along.
it.
But
Oh, I might need some of that myself.
let me know. But here's the funny thing though, because when I first got here, I didn't come for the music. I was actually on my way to Atlanta to do film and get in
Oh,
that because that was something that I love doing. And actually now the opportunities are opened up for me to get back involved is in the front of the camera as opposed to
ooh,
behind the cameras.
favorite
But
movie, quick.
my favorite movie, you know what? People judge me for this, but I've always been a fan of Kevin Costner. And growing up, my favorite movie as a kid was Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. It's got
Ooh,
him. It's
that's
got
classic.
Morgan Freeman. It's got I forgot what his name was. The guy who played Professor Snape's.
Yeah, I don't know his name, but I know who you're talking about. In
I
Harry
just
Potter.
I like that movie. The soundtrack was amazing for that, and that was like my favorite one growing up. That and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the first
Oh,
one.
Classic. Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
watched
I'm a
that.
big movie guy, so that's
I know.
if I didn't even in music, like that's my probably the other thing that I would love to find a way into. I love movies. Yeah, great. But anyway.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, you've got on plenty. You've been interviewed plenty with Drew in
Oh yeah.
movies and mochas, that
Oh yeah.
podcast.
Oh
Which
yeah.
we got to put a plug in for that too.
Yeah.
But oh yeah, so but I'll being here, and I did have some friends that I kind of met through my training because I went to like a kind of a acting model music training thing back in Texas. But through them, through the networking through them, I met people from Georgia and other areas, and some had moved here to Nashville. And one of my friends, Glenn, was really involved in the music circuit, and like, hey, I wouldn't mind. I have a song or two I've written, and I have a story about like my first meeting with a music person here and how it didn't go well my first week here, and I wanted to give up.
Oh
But
wow.
my dad gave me the best advice ever. He said basically, son, life has no flavor without both high moments and low moments. And
Wow.
I was dumbstruck by that because I was expecting him to say, "Hey, it's okay, you tried, come home." And me just not answering him, he just kind of chuckled and he's like, "All right, let me explain to you in terms you might get better." He goes, "Life is like a piano. You have black keys and white keys to play major notes and minor notes." He goes, "And you can play a whole song in minor notes or you can play a whole song in major notes, but it's when you learn to combine the two that you create a beautiful melody, a beautiful
Wow.
sound." And he goes, once you learn to use that, you can appreciate the good and the bad because the bad gives you appreciation for the good gives you hope when you're going through the bad. And my dad taught me how to play piano, so that made sense. After that, I wrote one of my a song that like has been a favorite when I used to play live called "My Life's a Piano."
Mm.
I'll send you. It's on YouTube somewhere. I'll send you a link if you want to check it out.
I
But
definitely do.
it was just anyway. Said all that helped me. But going to these songwriter rounds, I even had for about a year. I had my own showcase that the venue would give me once a month. I'd bring in people that I met, and I'd let them play like half an hour of their music, another half hour of their music, and I would like be sandwiched in between with like 15-minute segments, and it just became a great showcase. And I was always bringing new people that I was meeting at these songwriter rounds. The venue loved that I was doing this all up until they had to shut down. But I was at a point where I realized I didn't have the drive that my friends were to be going out there and doing show after show after show. It didn't turn me on doing that. I played, I sang, I did this stuff because it's more therapeutic. The performance aspect, I enjoyed it. I just didn't have that hustle mentality that, well, I got to do it until this becomes my life. And that's when I realized,
Yeah.
you know what? It's okay. It's okay to not have that. They have that. I don't have that. Let me keep seeking my purpose until I find out what it is that I'll be like, this is something that I will burn the midnight oil working on.
That's right, bro.
And so no, but I can respect the grind. I can respect the music people who are going out there and doing it. For me, music is therapy and joy. Or if people ask me to do worship, I will gladly do it. But I'm just not there trying to hustle and make that work for me. I let God do it. I guess like you, when it comes to
Yeah.
friends, I'm just gonna hang and do it. So when it comes to music, I'm just available, and whatever they need me to plug in, jump in, I'll plug in, jump in, kind of
Yeah.
situation.
And that's that and that's the um that's the freeing part of it. Like being able to find out, man, what is the thing, like I love listening to other people in other industries talk about their talk about whatever's there. I don't know. Have you ever listened to an athlete talk about their sport? They
Yeah.
talk about it with such meticulous detail, and it's really things that if I love it, if you're like a casual basketball fan, in your mind, man, this person's great, uh, and you're like, man, this person's just great at what they do, and they must be naturally gifted. But a person who was truly great is the person that was able to uh, essentially discover the science behind it, so that way they have a way. So I say that to say this: uh, the, the true gift is finding that thing that you would burn the midnight oil for, the thing that you really would do if nobody gave you anything or did anything to do.
Mm.
And if you can find a way to translate that into a career, then I mean that's the ultimate. So Yeah, I think it's really great that you discover, like, especially in a city like Nashville, where everybody's trying to kind of chase after that thing. Where you're able to discover, like, what, I like music, but I think I like doing this. I'll do a couple shows every now and again, but it's not the thing that I love. But that's encouraging in and of itself, to just outside of, just to have the moment of, it's okay. A lot of
Yeah,
times we kind of lose that. It's okay that this isn't my passion. I love music, and I love the idea of, I love being out at shows, and it's, every night doing. I love that. I love leading worship. Leading worship for me is one of my favorite things. Like, so when you see, you always, joking me about, bouncing around on stage, all that energy on stage, and it's really because what's funny is that's not really my personality outside of that space, but it's almost something that transform, like, it's something that comes out when I'm there. So it's just a true love, and so I could do it every day, but there's other aspects of other things. I'm the same way. I mean, this is cool. I like that. I don't know what I
uh oh, I just lost you. Yeah, I lost your audio just like that.
am I back?
Okay,
Yeah,
it's come
sorry
back.
about
All
that.
right, you're good.
Yeah, it's just those same moments of, if I were to be working on a movie, I probably would be like, you know what, I don't want to be doing this for 6 hours. I don't want to be doing this for 12 hours. But yeah,
No, totally. And you know the funny thing is, looking into the service aspect of what I do as a director, I can do that. I enjoy directing and doing camera operations such. And there's times where I feel like I don't want to serve today. Why did I agree to serve today? But once I show up and I bring the energy that I do, I think I've been doing a lot of self search and figured out why is it that I enjoy this so much. I'm not sure so much the camera part of it or even the directing part. It's the part that I get to pour into those who are serving under me. Like my
yeah,
camera operators, I'm constantly encouraging them. I'm constantly pointing out to them. I'm highlighting and praising the good work that they bring. And if they need help with something, I'm giving them direction. I'm giving them just examples and helping to train them to try things differently, push them a little, and they grow. Like every service, they come up to me like, "Thank you for showing me this," or "Thank you for helping me doing this," "Thank you for saying this," and I think that for me is like where I get the most joy out of the leadership quality that I get from pouring into others, because that is something that is a part of me
yeah,
as in ministry. Because even when I was on a film set, when I was doing my thing, whatever I'd learned, and if there was like someone who just is starting, I would walk them through, pour into them. There's been times like behind or in between scenes when we're like at the craft table just snacking that we're just talking life, and I'm pouring and encouraging people around me, and to me that's ministry. To me it's a
bro.
chance to pour into others, and so I like that's kind of where I love. I like I said, I love that aspect that got opened up for me whenever I was doing that, and I want to get back into it. I've been feeling the burn, the urge to get back into it. The only reason I stopped is because I started looking around me. I started looking at the natural and saying, well, you know what, this doesn't make sense, so I better start acting in a way that makes sense. I need to start acting like the people are supposed to behave. And don't get me wrong, God opened up doors. That's why I started working at TPAC as a technical director, being a
Yeah,
responsible job. I was still in the industry, and but up to a point where guys like, all right, 3 years is enough. Now let's
right.
get you back to what I really called you to. So it's been scary, exciting for this new season coming in. Also with my business as a speaker, that's a whole nother a desire that I had to tuck away for a while because
Mm,
I was trying to do things the proper way,
yeah,
and instead of Holy Spirit. And don't get me wrong, Holy Spirit's been with me ever since the way God blessed me and used me, regardless of doing or just doing this because He is good. He's a good God,
yeah,
and that's been amazing. But I think now it's time for He's like, all right, cool. You were faithful, even though you were in a place where you really didn't want to be or choose to be, but you just did it. He goes, now let's see how much I can expand you or can bless you in something that does bring you joy, and you can be who you were created to be. It's been such an amazing journey, adventure on my behalf. Again,
Yeah.
Lorenzo, I can talk all day about myself, but today is about you.
Bro, you're helping me, bro. You're 100% right. Because I mean, even going back to coming to TBCO, I spent most of my life leading worship and things like that. And so, but I spent it was couple years, 18, 20. 2020 was the first time I ever stepped foot on, to lead worship at our church. I spent 2 years not. That's not. I was going back and forth to other churches, leading worship at other churches, but I didn't jump into leading worship right away at church, and it was such a the beginning of that was, man, like, obviously you come to TBCO and you know high energy. It's a great environment. People are great. You would love to be a part of that. You would love to jump in and use your gifts in that way. But I spent some time just kind of sitting, just like you. It's just kind of sitting before I served. And in any way, whether it was stage managing or I spent some time just kind of sitting.
Yeah.
And I was able to reconcile and understand and grow my relationship with God in that time. And that was the best part. And so where I thought the apex of my ministry and the apex of who I am was leading worship, where I found out was really the most impactful times and the most um, you know moving times and most impactful times that I've had with people was doing this, was just talking. And so it's just, you're right. The ministry was really at the snack table. It was going to get coffee, going to get lunch. Those moments were more impactful to me than anything anybody sang or preached or anything like that. Especially to me, and this is just my opinion, growing up in church. I've heard a ton of messages, and there's always new revelations to be gained in preaching. And so I love preaching, which is really the thing that glued me to TBCO. It really wasn't, the worship was phenomenal. The worship was like at the max, but it was really the strength of the preaching that really was like, I think this is where I want to. This is where I want to be. This place is gonna grow me spiritually and all that. But
Cool.
the conversations that I start having with different people and hearing their life and then their story, and the thing, you see, you get in touch with people that do all these great things as far as a job, but they have such enriching and powerful stories. Things like, man, you went through that. You've had those feelings. I've had those feelings. You dealt with it. So those moments were truly, truly the most moving times. And that's where I've decided to put the emphasis. That's where the emphasis is. Same as you. It's just like I would, it's great leading worship and doing music and blah blah blah, blah, but the really where I want to pour into people is just having conversation and really learning the lives of people and being able to allow God to minister through that.
Lorenzo, on this show, that's what we call Rockstar Gold. You've been dropping, my man. Yes, relationships. It's simple but yet powerful.
Yep.
What you can learn from others, but also what you not only what you can pour into others, but what you learn that you can pour into others. You realize you become an expert because of what you've gone through. You've allowed yourself to grow through, and now you've come out and you can help others walk through that.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a point right there. You go through it, you grow through it, and now you can help others walk through it. Anyway,
You preaching.
that's a talk that I'm going to give eventually. But you know what? This time just flew by. But
Yeah,
I
dude.
do want to ask you my favorite questions if you're ready, my man.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, the first question I like to ask every one of my rock star guests is, what are habits or disciplines that have become a day to day in your everyday?
Sure. Well, um, every day that I try to that I'm every day that I'm always looking for new inspiration. Every day I probably have some sort of song idea that I have that I take. Not that you have to conjure it up or try to, but I try to at least do some sort of have some sort of idea every day. And then I've slacked off at this recently, but I'll try to really take spend time, uh, you know, practicing
Mm.
guitar and things like that every day. Um, I slacked off a little bit. I've been gone for a week. I didn't take my guitar. I was out of town, but yeah, things like that.
So you let out your creative, you know you have creativeness in you, and you search to bring it out, and you keep honing on your skills. I can respect
Hmm.
that. I can totally respect that.
Yeah.
Now, you know that there's a lot of people who are going to be checking out my show, and they're like excited to in their life. Maybe they're going through loneliness or whatever. But what piece of advice can you offer up my audience that they can take and run with it to help them become a better version of themselves or become a future rock stars?
Well, the biggest thing that I can say is um, the moment you discover uh, that thing that you love, the moment that you discover that thing that you love and what God has put inside of you, which is tied to uh, your calling, uh, is going to change your life. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be, you know, Michael Jackson. You know, it doesn't mean that, but when you find what it is that thing that God put inside of you, it's gone, and it's there. You don't really have to conjure up and go on a 40-day fast to find it. It's really the natural. It's
39
really
days is enough. Just
yeah,
kidding.
that whatever that natural thing that you gravitate towards through, God put that in there.
Mm.
It wasn't anything that you did. It was in there when you before you were born. God planted that seed and water that seed and grow it and really um, allow God to move you forward in that. And the other piece is what we already talked about. Really learn to develop true relationships, and out of that, everything else will flourish.
Yeah,
That's my
genuine
advice.
relationships. No, that's good. That is good. Yeah, that's you know what. Don't everyone. You have a purpose, and it's up. I mean, you got the right to search and figure out and take risk and just go for it
Go
and
forward.
attempt it. And if it's not for you, like all right, cool. Now that's one thing that I don't want to do, and you can keep going until you find the right purpose for you. But right now when you mentioned about like the God planted the desires into you, I wholeheartedly believe that scripture where it says, or that promise, I call them promises, when the promise says that the Lord will answer the desires of your heart, I
Hmm.
believe the reason he does that is because he's the one who planted those
He
desires to
put it
begin
there.
with.
He
Especially
put
when
it
we
there.
come into our faith and we confess and we receive him as savior, like his spirit enters into us. And there's a scripture that says that he reveals the secrets of the Lord to you. The Holy
Hmm.
Spirit reveals the secrets of the universe, because we have, at that point, we have the mind of Christ. So the thoughts that are coming to me, the ideas, the dreams that are coming to me are God sized
Yeah.
dreams, are God sized desires. So of course those desires are the ones that he wants to answer in you, so that he can be glorified through lifting you up, because the more you glorify him, the higher he'll lift you up, because you keep bringing more glory to him. But anyway, that's we're not here to
And
preach, but that's just inspiring promises that just came to mind from what the comment that you just shared right now.
and the last thing I'll say before we go is about fear.
Mm.
And I heard Bishop Jakes say this one time. He
Bishop Jakes.
said, "Yeah, I love Bishop Jakes." He said, uh, "In essence, this is not a quote, but in essence, the fear is going to be there. The fear you're going to feel whatever it is that you're trying to do, especially if God put it there, is massive. And God the Bible says that uh, my ways are higher than your ways. My thoughts are higher than your thoughts. So
Yeah.
anytime that God implants something into you, if it seems too big and too much for you to do in your own, then that's a good indication that it's a God thing, which means that He intends for you to not do it on your own, for Him to give you the strength and the grace to do it. So, in terms of fear, even though you have that fear, and this is something that I've had to overcome, I'm sure Josafat has had to overcome, and a lot of people that we talk to and really connect with. And I've talked to people who toured the world. I've talked to people who do it at the highest of levels. The biggest thing was they felt the fear and did it anyway.
Mm.
And that's really where it is. The biggest thing to overcome, that you'll have to overcome in your life, is you. And so it's not, it's not the devil. It's not any, you are the biggest thing that you're the greatest hurdle you'll ever have to overcome. And if you can beat you're a rock star.
Yes, yes, yes. Rockstar. I need to get a little soundboard, like the stream deck we have at church, so I can start putting some sound bites.
Yeah.
Man, Lorenzo, you have given us some Rockstar gold. You've given us some great tips, and not importantly, but you shared your story. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for being here today. Let's go ahead and I'm going to wrap this up. Don't go anywhere. I'm just going to keep you up here. Actually, let me just highlight me, but you're still on, so we'll be able to hear you. I just want to say thank you, everyone who showed up to listen to episode 42, an interview, The Rockstar, featuring Lorenzo Baylor. He is a rockstar musician. He is a rockstar songwriter. He is a rockstar minister. He is a rockstar baller, basketballer, y'all. And he came and he brought some gold to you guys. Hey Rockstar is a show affiliated with Low Budget Productions. Those of you, if you have Facebook or let's see, if you have Facebook or Twitter, and go ahead and just check them out. If you like podcasts, it's a great place to listen to new podcasts. If you're interested in being a podcaster yourself, reach out to us. We've walked the walk, and we can help you get your footing so that we can you can start telling your story. And speaking on that, I just remembered something, Lorenzo. Oops, there we go. Boom. Last question. If you want to be found, my friend, how can our audience find you?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Instagram is Renzo Baylor, RenzoBaylor. Same as Twitter. And on Facebook, Lorenzo Baylor Jr. Facebook. But yeah, you can find me in any of those places.
Sweet. And if you're watching this now, on the Hey Rockstar Instagram, I would have followed Lorenzo, so you can easily find him, because the Hey Rockstar Instagram is just the only people I'm following are people who have been guests on my show, to make it easier for my audience to find them and follow them on those platforms. But once again, just thank you everyone for showing up today on this beautiful Thursday. Just any final thoughts before I go ahead and officially close the show down?
None that come to mind, but I am going to put my shades back on.
Put the shades on. Put the shades on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this has been episode 41, interview with Rockstar. We ask you to just take all this value that you listen to, take it and apply it to your disciplines, so that then you can go and become the rock star of your industry. Thank you all for letting us into your homes. Thank you for letting us into your cars. But also, thank you for letting us into your hearts. So until next time, all the way from Nashville, Tennessee, I am Josafat Emiliano. This is Lorenzo, and then right there you can see Miguel. And we just want you to know, until next time, we want you to have much love and many blessings.